What's up, everybody? My name is Travis Walls. I'm the founder of the Formula Factory and a former NBA strength coach for over a decade. But before I became that strength coach and before I became a founder, I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself. I'm just a kid from Marietta, Georgia that loved playing the game of basketball like we all probably have, and I wanted to become the next LeBron James. But as time went on, I was actually fortunate enough to go play Division I at the University of North Florida and go play professionally in Finland and Slovakia. And after that stint, I'm like, hey, what do I want to do? And I always knew, like I told you earlier, I wanted to become an NBA star. But so I thought to myself, how do I get to the NBA? What skill do I have that can get me there? And that was a strength and conditioning coach. So what we're going to talk about today is how I take the correlation of work with the best athletes in the world in the NBA and then working with busy professional men. So what happens with busy men that are extremely professional, their health and their fitness usually begins to tank. Why? Because they're extremely successful. They blame time, they blame food, they blame workouts, they blame all these things, not understanding why they can't fit it into their health. And I'm going to break down in this video about how I help them finally get the physique, finally feel the health, finally get the health they've been trying to get for so long. Because what we can admit is you try to go to the gym, you do the workouts, you try to eat healthy, you do everything that you think you needs to be done, but the result never shows. And I'm going to tell you exactly why throughout this video. Now I want to talk about the four main things that you're probably struggling with. Number one is time. Busy professionals always blame time about why they can't get their physique the way they want it, why they can't eat the right way, why they can't work out, whatever it may be, it's time. And I'm going to tell you one thing about successful men. Time is always going to be limited. So if you continue to use that excuse, you're never going to get the result because you're always going to be busy. That's why you are extremely successful. So first I want you to understand the concept of time. And I want you to reframe the way you think about it. You look at a packed calendar and you say, hey, look, there is no time for me to actually work out. There's no time for me to eat healthy. There's no time for me to do anything in terms of my health. But we have to reframe that and burst that bubble inside your head to let you know there is time for you. You just have to have the structure and the system in place for you to actually achieve results within the time you do have. So number two, travel. When it comes to traveling, you already know you're traveling. You've been successful. You've been doing this. But let me give you an example. There's two people who travel. Think about this. There's one busy professional who travels. He has accountability. He has a system. He has structure. He has everything in place to help him as he travels. And then there's somebody like you who's every time you travel, you have no knowledge of how to do anything to keep up your progress. You don't know what to do. So what do you do most of the time? You quit, you give up, you go on the road, you do whatever you want to because you think you can't stack days on while traveling. And this is the biggest thing I've learned as an NBA strength coach for over a decade. If you have a system in place and you have an accountability around you, you can still achieve your goals. They do it every single day when they perform in the bright lights. It's because they have people behind the scenes who are literally catered to them to make sure they achieve these goals regardless of their circumstances. So number three, nutrition. And this is where most busy men struggle the most. Why? Either one, they think they're eating healthy and they have no clue what eating healthy even means. Or two, they just give up. They have no idea of the knowledge of nutrition. They have no idea where to go. So once again, they give up. And this is the biggest component of it all. So imagine if you had somebody who's already worked or trained with the best athletes in the world, is literally giving people an idea of what they need to eat. Now, when I say we talk about nutrition, you have a lot of people you're going to watch these videos, and there are people who have never worked with high elite level people like you. So what they do is they say, don't eat this, don't eat that. And that's not reasonable. That is not something that you can do if you're extremely traveling. If you're traveling all the time, you have to understand what options make the most sense during that time. I would explain all these things to you in another video, and we talk about macros and how I break that down for you, the proteins, the fats, the carbs, the micronutrients. So we just talk about macros and whole. I do that for you. So what I'm doing is I'm creating a system for these professionals, and I will even show you some case studies later on that are doing this. I'm giving them exactly the roadmap that they need to follow in order for their nutrition to be up to par, instead of walking around having no idea what to do. Because you think about it, you work out, you spend time in the gym, you say you're eating healthy, but nothing is changing. And why is nothing changing? Because you're eating healthy. It's not real nutrition. It's not fuel. A lot of people are just constantly thinking that they're eating some bland food. And if you're going to eat bland food over and over again, you know what you're eventually going to do? You're eventually going to quit. So you have to make sure that your system is catered to you. And that's why I am so fortunate I'm able to help these busy men, because I did the same thing for the best athletes in the world. A lot of these situations are not ideal for them, but you have to be able to package in a way so they can still be successful. Number four, you're probably struggling with your workouts. You're doing the same workouts over and over again. You're like, do these even work? Am I doing the right thing? Am I doing the right movements? Am I working out enough? You have all these questions in your head wondering why other people are getting results and you're not. And to be honest, nobody that you're looking at that's getting results that is just as busy as you are is some superhuman or has some magical powers that you don't have. That's not true at all. What they have is they have, once again, a system running in the background that you can't see. So you may be going to the gym, doing burpees, running around, doing all this, running 2 miles a day on the treadmill, you're on the elliptical. And if I were to ask you, why are you doing that? If in the last 2 to 3 months, nothing has even changed, you would not even have an answer for me. The reason is you're doing it because you think this is the thing to do. But this is why having a system in the background that's going to make sure that you're doing the things you're supposed to be doing for a specific reason to get the results that you actually are trying to get. It's a lot of times, like I said, I can go to the gym right now. I see a lot of busy professionals doing the same things every day. And I'm like, you haven't changed in 3 to 4 months. So what are you doing? And it's just that you get so caught up in the mindset of, hey, I'm working out. But why are you going to the gym? You're going to the gym to get a result, right? That's why you go. You don't go to the gym just to sweat. And I think once you accept that you haven't got the result in so long that something, a part of your system is leaking. It's like anything. It's just like business. If you were to look at your numbers right now and there's a dip, there's a leak somewhere, and we have to figure out the leak. So I'm going to break more of it down for you as we go through the video. But I just want you to understand, like, those 4 components are why you're struggling. You're blaming time, you're blaming travel, you're blaming your food, and you're blaming your workouts. But if you know that's your problem, imagine you being able to be like an NBA player, the best athletes in the world, and creating a system around you that's going to allow you to finally get the results that I know your wife and you or your partner and your kids would love for you to finally get. So here's what I would do to help you in the next 100 days or 15 weeks in my rebuild system. I'm going to break it all down for you. I'm going to tell you exactly why you're struggling and why you will succeed. Number 1 is framework. And when I say framework, I have to understand exactly where you're at. This is the difference between working with a professional and going to a gym and hiring a trainer. Let me tell you one thing about a trainer. When you go hire a trainer in the gym, they ask you 2 questions. Next thing you know, you start working out. They have no idea about you. So when I talk about framework, I learn everything about you. I need to know your lifestyle. I need to know your habits. I need to know what you struggle with. I need to know so much things about you so I can step into your frame. And that's why I like to call it a framework, because once I understand your framework, I understand what your goals and what you're trying to get at. So the second part of the phase would be an alignment. So now I'm able to align your goals with what you actually want and where you stand. So when I say alignment, it's like, hey, you may be wanting to walk into and, hey, I want to get into a fat burning phase. I need to shred 30 pounds off my mediocre body. Or you may be somebody that's like, hey, man, I'm 140 pounds and I need to put on some size. I want to go to the beach and finally take my shirt off. I want my wife to finally look at me like I am some type of physical specimen. I understand that. But first, by understanding where you are, by stepping into your frame of what you're struggling with, then I'm able to abstract that and take your goals and say, okay, this is where I want to start you at, and this is where we're going to build at for the next 15 weeks. And I'm going to go more on that as we talk about, as we go on. And then we talk about calibration. The reason I talk about calibration is because a lot of times people plateau where you are plateaued right now. So I take calibration. I'm like, by having all this data about you, and we're talking about sleep, nutrition, the workouts. I have so much data on you. When you feel like you hit a plateau, I know exactly where to adjust. So when I show you my clients, you're going to be like, how did they do this in 100 days? It's because we were prepared for the plateau, or as I like to call it, calibration, and we was able to tweak. But if you have no idea why you're stuck, how are you going to move forward? You don't know why. You don't track nutrition. You don't have no idea about your work. You don't know where you are, and you're trying to fix things because you don't know where the leak is. And the last thing in the part of the phase I like to call is transformation. This is where you actually look and feel like a completely different man than you are today. That is how you break down the framework, the alignment, the calibration, and the transformation in just 4 phases. So what happens, Travis, if I were to walk in there, what do I do? Well, the first thing you're going to do is I need to see what you actually look like. And I need to see a before picture of you so I can dissect everything about you. And a lot of men would be discouraged to even sit in the mirror and take a picture of them with your shirt off. How are you ever going to improve if you can't look at yourself in the mirror and see exactly where you are? And when I can see exactly where you are, I'm able to dissect that and to give you exactly the nutrition that you need to be eating. Not the meals that you see on Instagram and some fitness influencer eating every single day that you know you can't even fit into your lifestyle. And that's where a lot of you guys are struggling at. You're trying to copy things online that don't fit you. It's just not going to work. And that's why you're still stuck. So once we break all that down, we align everything, we align your goals, we're able to segue you into an automated system, I like to call it, where you're just getting the job done. Now you're becoming an athlete. All I want you to do is perform, and you have me in the background just literally giving you everything you need to succeed. So one story that I want to talk about is when I was an NBA strength coach and I got there, I was like 25 years old and worked with the best athletes in the world. We're talking NBA champions, Olympians, NBA All-Stars, future Hall of Famers. And I'm like, how do these guys perform so well when the lights come on? And it took me a couple of years to realize there were people like me. You talking about a strength coach, a chef, a physical therapist, nutritionist. They have created a team around them in order for them to be successful. So all they have to do is walk on when the bright lights come on and perform. So I look at people like you just like this. You need to create a system around you that's going to force you into success. There's no reason you should be trying to worry about fitness and try to do it on your own when there are people who are qualified, who work with the best in the world, that can give you the blueprint in order for you to be successful. So all I want you to do is what you're best at. And we're talking KPIs, we're talking success, we're talking growth, implementation. That's what I want you to do. I don't want you to focus on fitness. I want to put you on a trajectory where your fitness is just a blueprint that you have to follow, that you can finally become the man you've been trying to become and get the physique that you've been trying to get for years. So as I just explained all that to you, I'm pretty sure there's some limited belief still in your brain about, hey, can I really get the physique that I've been trying to get? Can I really look like the man I'm trying to look like? And to be honest, that's all you in your head. And the reason you're thinking that way is because you tried so hard for so long and you still feel that pain of it's not working, or it's not for me, or maybe fitness just isn't my thing. Or you go back to the excuses that I talked about earlier. You blame time, you blame travel, you blame workouts, you blame nutrition. You blame those things because you have yet to see it. But when's the last time you had somebody hold you accountable, show you the way, show you everything you know, have a blueprint, have case studies and showing you exactly what you need to do to get it done? But right now, a lot of you guys are your own coach. And the problem is you're your own coach and you're not certified. You are not expertise at this, but you're trying to get expertise results. And that is the problem. You're trying to get a result that you are not qualified to give. And just because it's fitness is something that everybody can do, that doesn't mean they're qualified to teach themselves or get the result they actually want to get. So if I were to sit here and ask you, I'm like, so why have you been doing all this and not getting the result that you truly want? Why are you constantly looking at yourself like, damn, this is not the man I'm trying to look like. I don't want to be putting on these suits and not feeling confident. I'm tired of walking into certain boardrooms and not feeling like the man I want to be. Why would you continue to coach yourself if those are the results that you're producing? If I were to get a coach and I'm not getting the results that I want, there's a problem. And that's a lot of you guys as your fitness coach. Now I already know it. Some of you guys are going to say this. I'm going to beat you to the punch. Well, I'm not trying to look like, hey guys, it's not about looking like a bodybuilder. It's not about looking like you're about to walk on stage and win a medal. It's not about that. But remember what I said earlier in this video. You are going to the gym for a reason. And you want to get a certain result, but you are just accepting a mediocre or even below mediocre type of body in a physique, which is lowering your confidence. So it's not making you feel like the person you want to feel because you're accepting it that it hasn't worked this far. So what I want to tell you is the day you tell yourself, hey, look, maybe I do need somebody to show me the way. And once they show me the way, I'll finally start getting the results that I've been trying to aim for the last who knows how long. So I know a lot of people look at my story and my situation as like, hey, look, we understand you've trained world-class athletes, but my goal is not to be a world-class athlete. And if you know anything about training, which most likely a lot of you guys struggle with, is your goals are the most important thing of what you're trying to do. When your goals are abstracted and I can see your goals, I just plug that into the system for you. No, you don't need to be running up hills. No, you don't need to be sprinting all the time. No, you don't need to be doing these things that these athletes are doing. But you need the same structure that they have. And once you get that, you'll get the results that you want. Like I said, you want to look good in a suit. You want to take your shirt off at the beach. You want to go on vacation. You want to do certain things that you know you're not comfortable doing right now because you won't take care of the one thing that you keep coaching yourself on that hasn't produced the results that you wanted to. So I know I spoke on case studies earlier. I'm going to actually show you one of my clients who maybe resembles the same situation you were in. This is Bram. And Bram came to me. He's 50 years old. He runs companies, lives in Toronto, Canada. And he's like, hey, I need help. And think about Bram, he's been trying, but he understands that he wasn't moving forward. Once again, Bram was his own health and fitness coach, which makes completely, absolutely no sense. He runs a company, all of a sudden he's supposed to give himself the best results possible that he's been trying to get. It's never gonna work. So Bram comes to me, he says, hey, look, we dissect everything. Like I said, I step into his frame. I step into his world. What is his lifestyle like? What is his time like? What does he do? What does he travel? How much does he travel? What is it all so I can package it in a way for him to be successful? And so once I found all of that, I'd say, look, we need to get into a fat burning phase. We need to shred all the fat off your body in the next 100 days in order to get you the result you're trying to get. And I'm going to show you what Bram looked like in just 100 days in the program. And after 100 days, we shred the fat. I taught him everything he needed to know, but I didn't overwhelm him with so much information. I gave him the blueprint and I told him why I'm doing this blueprint. Because a lot of people are doing certain things but have no idea why they're doing it. So I'm going to I gave Bram exactly the reason what he's supposed to be doing, his macros. So we're talking about proteins, his carbs, his fats, and he had the workouts. Bram didn't even step foot in the gym, to be honest. He did all this in his basement because because he didn't have time to actually drive 30 minutes to the gym and back. That would take an hour of his life. So imagine if you had a gym in his results. He did 100 days without a gym. But like I was saying, back to Bram, 50 years old, running a company and had no idea where his fitness was going. His wife started actually complaining about just the laziness and just like the brain fog that he was having. And she knew he needed help. So he kind of did this for him and his family because he knew this would help him rise to the occasion as a dad and as a husband. So Bram has gotten these results in just 100 days, in just one of the 4 phases that are in the program. And I guarantee if you're watching this video and you're somebody struggling, you're wondering how somebody can get these results in 100 days without going to the gym and running a business. And you've been going to the gym for years and nothing has changed. Once again, you are trying to be an expert at something that you have no clue about. When you get somebody like Bram who runs a business and finds somebody that plugs them in just like an athlete would as their strength coach, their health coaches, their chef, as their nutritionist, whatever it may be, so he can get the result that he's been trying to get for years. So if you made it to the end of this video, I want to ask you one question. Do you want to be elite or do you want to continue to be mediocre? And when I say mediocre, I say this. A lot of high-performing men pick and choose where they want to be a high performer. So they're going to be crushing in business, but their health and their fitness is below mediocre. So how can you say you're high performing man just because of a job, just because of an occupation? Or do you want to be somebody that's a high performing man and they're crushing it in business and they're crushing it in fitness? I think that is what a true high performing man is. And if that's you and you know you've been struggling, all I want you to do is this. Click the link below, schedule a call, and let's talk about rebuilding you. Let's talk about rebuilding you to become that man you've been trying to become for so long. I guarantee you, if I have a call with you and I can dissect everything you've been struggling with, where you've been stuck, and give you a blueprint that's going to take you to where you're trying to go, you'll finally get the results you've been trying to get for so long. So I appreciate you watching this video. I hope to hear from you and I hope to be a part of your rebuild.